So up until the end of last year, about 99.9% of the activity that's happened around here has come from the Sasquatch actually initiating it themselves. There's only been a handful of times that I've been able to, I guess, do something that will elicit a response. Um, the very first time it wasn't good. It was when I heard something in the woods and went chasing after them and still thought it was humans, had rocks thrown at me and got growled at. I guess I can kind of go either way because I technically heard them first, or the dogs responded to that side of the yard. The night of the growl, the really good growl I've got recorded, the roar, that was borderline. I don't even remember much of anything happening. I just kind of went to the back of my yard. I think I heard something near the chicken coop, but it wasn't anything crazy. It was just like a tap or something that kind of caught my attention. And then I walked down there and went, hello. And then, I got the growl. Roar. One of the only times that before this past year that I initiated something just out of the blue. And I think it was just random luck that they just happened to be out there. It happened shortly after we started the channel, in fact. But I went outside. I went to near the back of my house where my driveway is. And I just sat out there and I was literally, I can't tell you how many times I've done this, just started talking to the woods, basically, trying to see if they were out there, trying to get a response. I had nothing to indicate that they were out there at all. I was probably out there for about 5 minutes talking. I had the light. I was recording with my cell phone and it had the light on. And I was shining it on myself. I probably did that for 5 or 6 minutes with no indication of them being out there at all. And I think it's actually, I'll just explain what happened. But after a couple of minutes of doing that, I heard what sounded like an aluminum can being crushed. We had a trash pile at the time that we burned, a little bit of trash. My wife does shipping, so we would burn some stuff every once in a while. Now that we got the chickens, we don't do that anymore because it was in the same area. But so I went and got an old can out of there and walked back over. I'm kind of freaking out in the video. I can't believe this happened. It was pretty much out of nowhere. I didn't know if they were out there or not. I had no reason to believe they were. And then I crushed a can and started talking and saying, come on. I tried to get them to do something with the can or something. That didn't happen. But then I walk up to the fence and they make another really loud break. Well, I'm going to show you guys that video again. And I've also taken the can crushing and then the loud break and enhance those audios so you can hear them better. But the amazing part about that night, it wasn't just that. That was cool in and of itself. But it's also one of the only times that usually when something happened like that, I quit. I intentionally started doing things that would not be perceived as aggressive because I felt like I messed up that night by chasing them. I think I got lucky, but it was also good in a way because I finally figured out what they were. I quit running around here thinking I was chasing humans. I was probably about 50% at the time. I had learned a lot about Sasquatch, thinking it might be them because of the tracks and the structures I found and, other noises and tree shaking. I had enough evidence to point in that direction. But I still, even when the rocks were thrown at me, thought that I was still dealing with humans until it growled at me. And then I decided right then and there that not only did I want to know more, I was pretty much hooked from then on, but that I didn't want to be aggressive anymore. So I quit. When things would happen, I wouldn't run out into the woods and try to find them. But this particular event where they're crushing the can and then did that loud break, I just had to go check. I went out in the woods, and you'll see it in the video, and I walked to where I thought the initial, like the sound of them playing with an aluminum can. I still can't tell from the audio that that's exactly what it was, but that's what it sounded like to me at the time. But I walk out to the area where I think they were at, and there was a stick stuck in the ground with another stick pointing right at where I was standing earlier. When I was standing there with my phone, you know, shining a light on myself and saying, hey, it's me, blah, 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 you know, before anything even happened. I honestly think what happened was, number one, it was just random. I didn't know they were there at all. I just got lucky. And I honestly think they thought somehow I caught them when I really didn't catch them. I was just guessing. And then them sticking that stick in the ground and pointing it to where I was sitting, or where I was standing at the time. I was actually kneeling down. I mean, to me, that seemed like a marker. That seemed like, hey, he could see us from here, or he knew we were here, when in reality, I had no idea. I know for a fact that that stick wasn't stuck like that with another one pointed right next to it. Before that, I had just been out like a lot that week in that exact area. Number one, because I was finding a bunch of blue things all over the place. You've always, I know a lot of you have heard that these things like the color blue for whatever reason, and I was finding random blue stuff all in that area in the woods. So I'd been out there looking, but I honestly think that's when they started doing the marking. They were testing, I think, when they got caught or whatever, that's what they were doing. They put a stick there saying, all right, well, this is our limit. I've talked about this before. I've witnessed a couple other times too, especially with the dogs. Nights that the dogs in particular called on to them being there. I would go out there the next day, and there would be like a stick that I had cut earlier leaning up against a tree. I found sticks stuck in the ground on several occasions after the dogs pointing out where they were at. And I honestly think that that's what they were doing. It's like they're, you know, when you have fields of fire in the military, you know, your left and right lateral limits, quite possibly be what they were doing, is they were marking how close they could get with those sticks. You know, I at least think 100% that one time that's exactly what they were doing, because they thought I caught them, and I really didn't. It was just blind luck. But here's the video, and then the audio will be after the video. See me? Maisie, come here. You get over here. Leave him alone. Holy shit, I just crushed a can. I know nobody's gonna believe me, but they have a can over there in the woods, and I just heard it get crushed. I can't believe that just happened. Hello? You show me the can? Come on. Come on. Holy crap. This wasn't out here. They're testing to see how far away